if it had been something just regional, you know what? If it had just been like, hey, we're going to try a 6-man roster in Fnatic. You know, we've had our issues. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in, you know, I'll give you like a random, we're going to bring, you know, I'll give you the ridiculous example everyone always says about Mickey X. We're going to bring Leader in and we're going to say, you know what, Leader and Humanoid, you split time and let's have, you know, remember the Dark Knight? Cool Q. We're having tryouts, motherfucker. Let's see who makes it through to the summer playoffs to have their chance to fill. And then what we do, by the way, also 2 of your Martels boys there. Then what we do is, this is where it gets spicy. I actually think this might be the most out of left field mental news post I've seen drop. I would have thought this was like a satire site, some sort of rage bait, but it was on all the official socials. So I wake up. Let's just pull this out. Pobe replaces Humanoid in Fnatic. Listen, I'm a dedicated member of the Humanoid hating fan club. Even I'm not going that far, homie. And that, by the way, I'm just going to say this. I saw a Reddit thread that was mega upvoted, which means I know none of you watched Poby's career and you've never watched LCK Challenger. That thread that was like, he's amazing at laning. Like, you are fucking surely joking. In English, we say, are you joshing? You are having a laugh. Like, no. The answer's no. So what I don't get is, you've taken what was actually a pretty good laning mid lane, a Humanoid. You said, you know what? See ya. You're out. You brought in Pobe, by the way, a player who also completely mentally collapsed when he played in T1 those years ago. It was only 2 years ago. It wasn't 10 years. It was 2 years ago. Then you're going to put him into a team with no other Koreans in, by the way, an environment where you play on Fnatic. Ask Noah what the pressure's like on Fnatic when you play there and you lose a game as a Korean. Brother, listen, Pobe, you better have fucking... Pray to God, fucking... You better be Chovy. You better. I don't know how you can make it, man. You're just Dunzo. I don't even need to see it happen. This is Dunzo. I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't know what it is. Come on, give me your thoughts, Melton. What the hell is this move?
So there's a lot of things I need to cover here because I went deep into. I looked at his games even recently. There's like this Asia Masters Cup where they play like the LPL youth teams against the LCKCL teams. It's like, in terms of who he is as a player, I do think he is better than what he was in 2017, because 2017 he wasn't like ready at all. And this was a player that I thought for the longest time had no business even being on T1 Challenger, because in terms of where he was, in terms of how he performed in solo queue in the last couple of years, he was not showing up on any radars at all as a prospect. Like, it was absurd that he's even on T1, especially with the context of Faker's injury. This is like a position where they should have somebody that is capable to step up. Because I think in an ideal world, T1 as an organization has a mid laner that, let's say, plays
Imagine if they had someone like Karis, mate. You know, one of those things. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, let's have an understudy that could actually for real play instead of Faker. Yeah.
It's like if they had somebody that could just sub in for the first 4 weeks of regular season gameplay, I think that would make such a difference for Faker's level and also his overall health. Like, it would have been amazing. Like, from T1 side, I think they were waiting for an opportunity to move on if I just look at it from a business perspective, because I don't think it made sense for them to have Pobe there. In terms of who he is as a player, I think he's like middle tier. I think ever since they got in the new jungler Vincenzo, Vincenzo is more of like the carry style type of player. I think as a mid laner, he isn't necessarily good at playing the mages, and he's not like, he's basically the opposite of Humanoid. Doesn't want to play the mages. I think he is good at playing almost like a Niski-esque like play style, where he was going to perform the best playing Galio, Ryze, Palia, wherever he can connect, and him being in tune with the game, that is his biggest strength. Mechanically, not impressive at all. He's not going to come into the league and do something fucking flashy. On that front, I think Humanoid is better. But if I look at his base timers, understanding when he needs to be ready for objectives, when he needs to be on waves, and not necessarily like dying and feeding, I think he's a stable presence that is in tune with the game. So he's kind of like almost like a role player. But is he going to replicate that on Fnatic? I have no fucking clue. I have no idea. The weird thing is like, I heard some of the options that Fnatic had, because it's like those options was like Omon, it was like Call Me. It's like the options, as fucked up as it might sound, Pobe might have been the best option. And I'm not saying it's a good option, but it's probably the best option.
Okay.
But the fact that you're in that reality is the biggest disappointment, because Fnatic's streak of decisions and how they've burned everyone that has left Fnatic. It's like everyone that leaves Fnatic is leaving in a way that like they fucking, you know, they have problems with the organization. Even like the way Upset left and then came back, it was like, oh, it just happens to be in the end, like, we want to perform, I like the players, I'm going to join, and that's what it is. Similar to how Mickey returned to G2 after, of course, you know, the whole problem with the organization where they jailed him, and then eventually they sold him to XL that year, and then Mickey came back because he wants to win and play with Caps. Kind of a similar situation like that. It's like the list of people that they've burned along the way and all the problems they've caused, because the issues they have and had with Humanoid and Razork this season, it's not new. So why did you go into another year of it and then you made the change in the middle of the year? You didn't learn anything new. Fnatic's problems were exactly the same. You were hoping that Upset and Mickey were the difference maker to some degree. I was hoping that too. Thorin was hoping that too. We were hoping, we were hopeful for this project, but you were dealing with so much more information. Now you make this decision in the middle of the season. I think that is the problem. It's like the fact that your best option now in this moment in time is Poby is crazy. I wonder, I hope it comes out, the conversation about the financial of this, because the Humanoid contract has created kind of a money hole in terms of what options they've had, where this contract is that expensive that they need to keep committing in that direction. And then Razork as a prospect is something that is very difficult to move on from, because he clearly can be super good. He has been super good on this Fnatic roster. And letting go of Razork, you just know that the next team Razork is going to play for, he's going to play insane. You just know it. And that situation they've been in for so long, to make this decision now in the middle of the year is very, very bold. But knowing Humanoid as a person, I do think, like, because everyone's talking about what happens next for Humanoid, I think he needs to take a step back and actually like rest and do things on his own terms. Because I think this is a player that maybe didn't want to play at all and just did it because that's the contract and that's what his life was. Because I think the motivation just wasn't there. And I think if he takes a step back and goes away for a split, I think anyone that has worked with him will tell you how fucking talented he is, but his mind is just not in the right place to make difficult teams work. That's just not where Humanoid is right now. And I think if he ever comes back, maybe he doesn't. But if he comes back, I hope it is for the right reasons, meaning that you play because you want to play and you want to compete and you want to win. And I think that Humanoid has left us, quite some time ago in my mind. So I hope that he finds that peace, because in the end, playing competitive league is busy work. It's just, if you don't like that, if you don't love the process of practicing and scrimming, it really, really kills your soul. And I think that's where Humanoid is at right now. Will Poby be the Hail Mary that works out? You know, there's opportunities here. We go back to the Gilotto take of G2 not making worlds. You know, there's opportunity in the league to do something crazy. And I wonder now, the big thing is, it's like, oh, the duo is finally split up, Razork and Humanoid. Razork, if you don't fucking put it together now, if you don't,
it's gonna look like it's you, yeah, of course.
Like, if you don't make it work now and you don't dominate now, like, the people are you're gonna run out of chances. Like, this is your chance to do something. Like, this is one of the last chances. Like, people are gonna get tired of this shit. Like, this is the moment to do so. This is the moment to really showcase that you are capable of being the bigger and louder part of the mid jungle duo, because Poby is going to come in there and he's not going to drive things. You have to.
My problem with this is, even though I'm with you, there's a world in which it's outrageous if this happens. How could you, when he was so good? There's a world, maybe he just retires, mate. Maybe he just says, fuck it, that's it. I'm done. I don't have the love for the game anymore. By the way, clearly did not actually enjoy the pressure of having this giant contract. Like, it wasn't something that you seemed to vibe with at all. Also, you have basically cursed yourself. Everyone knows you just actually basically ran out one of the worst contracts in the history of European League of Legends, because it was essentially the kind of money that should have been for a Caps or the next Caps, and then you didn't play up to that level. And even worse, all we needed was one championship when we could have had core people. You didn't give us one. You had so many finals, so many semi-finals, so many worlds you attended. Now you're at another MSI. What do we get for it, though? There has to be something. Think about that. Where are even the upsets? Not the fucking ADC, obviously. Where's the time you did a sick BO3 upset? Where's the time they always lose the third game? They always are winning a game in the fucking BO5, and they never come close to winning the BO5. Like, it never happened. Like, you don't have any of the things that the G2s of the world did, and they had a lot of players with a way smaller contract. This is also why you can always tell someone is a teenager, aka then the number of their age starts with a 1 in front of it. Is if they go, if I was paid that much money, shut the fuck up. That's not how anything works in life. You don't know anything about greatness if you think that the whole time, that every time you're tired, every time you're frustrated, every time you think, nah, I'm not really enjoying this, you think in your brain, but all that money, and then it makes you play awesome and love the game. It doesn't work. Life doesn't work that way. That's why actually it should be, look, I don't think the way that Humanoid's contract was done in the first place was wrong. He actually had an amazing year where he looked like he was super locked in. The problem is, this is why people will know this from sports. It's a nightmare where you have like the prospect that you give the big contract to because they haven't proven it yet. It's the other way around. You get paid for what you did in the past in sports. When you have a sick year, then you get the $100 million contract. That's how it works. So the big problem here for me is, I always say this, what do people think you do? When you're at your lowest and you play like shit, do you just open your bank app and go, yeah, let's play? That's how it works. You might go, yeah, I've got loads of money. But if anything, by the way, that can be a distraction even. You know what? Now I've got all that money. That wouldn't be the end of the world if I play like shit this split. Oh, you know what? I get paid anyway. Well, fuck it. Oh, second place wasn't bad. I didn't have the same team as GT. You can make a million excuses. Also, by the way, you could just be doing things like to distract yourself. You can have you can go to the Maldives anytime you like with your girlfriend. You can fucking buy the most expensive fucking baller watch and all the rest of this shit. You can, by the way, I bet back in Czech Republic, you can live the fucking life, mate. You'll be the equivalent of like a millionaire in fucking UK or something like that. You'd be balling out. You could be driving sports cars. You could have a villa in fucking Malta. You can have everything you want. So the question at that point in time is, now that you've got every excuse taken away, do you want it enough? Do you want to win in the game League of Legends? Here's the real question. Forget caps. Do you want to outgrind Vladdy, who's still on that first year love? That initial obsession, that infatuation with the game, where you're awesome. Guess what? You used to be him once upon a time. That's the problem. So again, by the way, another player in Humanoid. Guys, this guy came in 2019. He's had like a 6-year career. This is not someone who's a spring chicken. And also, I wouldn't say he's had issues in every team he's in, but he's someone that I've told the story before. Put it this way, at the end of this year, I'll almost certainly do it whether he retires or not. I'll do my deep dive video on Humanoid where I will go to a bunch of his teammates and coaches and I will get the story. I'll find out what is the deal with this guy, because the few times in interviews I've asked, I get really weird answers. Even behind the scenes, you get people where it's like, even the ones who like him are sort of a bit puzzled by some of the aspects of his motivation. Like, for example, they'll do stuff like give him a compliment and say, oh, he's actually really intelligent about the game. Like, if you ever got him in a review and you could get him to talk, he'd give you all these amazing, he understood where the guy was going to be and what we should do. And then they'll sometimes be like, but he didn't communicate that to anyone because he thought they should know already. And it's like, what? What? No, that's not the way it works. Like, normally the guy who's brilliant like that, like a Soaz, a Perks, normally their best quality is you can tell the team what you need them to do, or you can go that up and coming player. I've even told this story before. This is what I was told from Evil Geniuses. Evil Geniuses wasn't just Peter Dunn and Giorgio Pion and Danny. I've heard Inspired would literally take the rookies under his arm and sort of like tell them the right things so that they'd feel all confident. But then he'd also still recommend the VOD view. So they knew, like, hey, I also expect you to fucking play it properly though. Like, this is what you could have done. This guy, that's as far as I can tell, one thing he's never done. He's never been the captain. So if you're the highest paid player, I need you to either be my best player or my captain. I want one of the two. But when you get him out, if you can go away and you have 6 months off, figure it out. Once that contract ends, you can play in the LEC again. Yes, absolutely. By the way, I even think to myself, think of some of the other teams you could be on. You can walk in Vitality tomorrow, back and pad. If they're still there, if they're still there, of course. But anyway, so your career doesn't have to be over. But I tell you what, you have to give a fuck now. They can't ever phone it in again. You can't ever phone it in again.
I think what every coach is going to tell you is basically you always view Humanoid as the guy who has the knowledge and the capacity to be the solution, but not the motivation to fulfill it. I think in my context, right, there was the challenge of Hilly and Humanoid. Hilly is the type of player that does things his own way, and you give him the space and the time to ramp up, and he's going to repay you in kind. If you challenge that too hard, he's going to move in the other direction completely. Like Hilly is a very very sensitive player, and Humanoid will give you a couple of chances, but if he feels like the effort doesn't lead anywhere, he's going to protect himself and isolate himself completely away from you. And that response is the the challenge that every coach is trying to kind of work their way through with Humanoid. It's like to see the upside of trying really hard to elevate the team to the next step. In my read and my estimation, in regards to how Elioya was when he joined the team, I think Elioya took what Humanoid said and really, really tried to apply it. And he was willing to be the punching bag for
Right.
Humanoid, where his response to Humanoid's isolation behavior was the response of, I'm going to do better and I'm going to bring him back to me. And I think the if I read it correctly, it's like between Humanoid and Razork, I don't know how much faith they have in each other after 4 years. It's like we viewed this from outside, the frustration of Fnatic fans or us as well as people that can see the potential of Fnatic. Internally, that frustration must be 10 times more harsh between Razork and Humanoid, because they've been there since so long now. This was like the 4th year running of these guys. So how much faith did they have in one another? And when you are in a working relationship, any relationship, and the dynamic has been set, breaking yourself out of that box is next to impossible, because the expectations on who you are, what you're going to do, has already been set. And I think what you touched on is so important, because in regards to the effort you need to put in, whenever anyone talks about work-life balance and competition, they don't understand. It's like the obsession and the work you're going to be putting in is unhealthy. It needs to be. Otherwise, it's like everyone, like every pro athlete, anyone that pushes, they have injuries, they fuck up their back, they have injuries, they have wrist problems. It's in traditional sports the same way, amount of knees or elbows or shoulders. Everyone's destroyed post a career. Like in UFC, they put everything on the risk. Everyone gets concussions, everyone gets their head beaten in, and those that get away with very little injuries, it's like a miracle. Like that, you need a very certain level of crazy, and if that passion doesn't come from the right place, whether the motivation is financial, as you mentioned, if the motivation is for you to get the money, and you are from a country that doesn't have, you know, a strong thriving economy like in Germany or France or whatever, and that money is so life-changing to you, that is a big driving force. If you love the game, like a Mickey and Caps, these guys, their biggest advantage always has been that they just love playing the game. Like they just love playing the game, love putting in hours, and hard work becomes easy work. Even though, of course, I wouldn't want to say that it's easy, because of course they work insanely hard. Like that, being capable of being obsessed at that level, you need to have very, very deep motivations. And you know, the best examples that we can always give in terms of how people change after they achieve certain things is like, look no further away than like someone like Conor McGregor, because when he was starving, he was a different man completely. And then
Oh,
that
the kids
moment,
don't even know, because it's 10 years ago now, you might all like, they don't remember. This guy was like the hardest worker and mega at fighting and could talk the talk. The joke is he just does the last one now. He just talks, pretends he's having fights. And then every nephew thinks, oh, he fucking sucked. As I always tell people, man, look who he beat. He was fucking mega at his peak. But you're right. As soon as he got essentially like the infinite money left, yeah, he had the money from fighting, then he invested it into businesses, and he has all that like fucking alcohol shit in Ireland, which, by the way, speaking of a license to print money, you're selling alcohol in Ireland. Fucking hell. That's outrageous. Yeah, you're gonna be rich for your whole life. That is an unreal. So the problem is, that's like the Humanoid contract. At that point in time, Are you really going to grind? Are you really getting up at 5 a.m, the equivalent in league? Are you really putting in all the hours? Do you really care to improve, or is the current level good enough? And you're just going to ride out the money and be. This is what people don't understand. Nephews don't have anything yet, so if I had such a, you don't know that you're imagining what would happen. I'll give you a quick example. Surely everyone can relate to this. Has anyone here ever procrastinated some homework, some schoolwork, some work in the office, right? Where you should do it today, but you go, I could do it tomorrow. What you do is, eventually, you put it off 2 or 3 days. The last day is coming up. It's the day before you have to do it, right? And you tell yourself the ultimate lie. You go, you know what? I'm going to put it off one more time, but I'm going to go twice as hard tomorrow. Bro, you couldn't go half as hard today. You won't go twice as hard tomorrow. I can tell you what will happen tomorrow. You will wake up, panic that you didn't do it, do a half-assed job, or you'll go, oh, next time will be different. Next time I'll just start from day one again. No. If it was that easy, you would have done it. The point is, everyone in their mind is a hero, mate. Everyone in their mind is at their 10 out of 10 level on their best day. Everything works. They get the perfect sleep. They get the perfect food. That isn't what being great's about. Being great's about being applied effort when none of those things are true. When you're injured, when you didn't get good sleep, when you're in a bad mood, when your girlfriend just broke up with you, you had a dog shit meal, you forgot to eat even that day, you lost your first 3 games, you're having a bad time in your team and people are telling you shit. The people who grind and put their effort in then, those are the people I have mad respect for. Like, it's the reason why, if people don't know, it's not just that he's a brilliant goal scorer. One of the best reasons I'm a massive fan of Ronaldo is he's like 41 and he is infinite grinding every day. Still Yamato. He still like eats the perfect macro. It's unbelievable, mate. So people can never take that for granted. Let me see someone do that for 1 year. Never mind 20, mate. Never mind 20.
I can also reference back to what Cap said on the Sackdown in response to the rumors at the time of his jungler and support being replaced.
Okay.
His response was, I am very disappointed in myself because maybe if I helped them more, they wouldn't have gotten replaced.
Oh, that's sick. I love that.
His reaction is, he's viewing it through the lens that if I was earlier looking at the lane swap game that Team Liquid did, and we put in more effort there, and I pushed them, and we worked together, he sees this through the lens that he could have done that. And if you have such an encompassing responsibility for the whole team, and you look at yourself as the potential solution to any problem, then you will be capable of doing so much more. And there's very few players that are like that. You mentioned Inspired. Like, I know Bwipo is like this. I know that Caps is like this. Perks is usually the guy who taught other people to be like this. Mithy had that connection with Sven. It's like that level of greatness. It's so apparent because they see issues in a team and they don't ever say, that's not my problem. They're gonna put in everything to set the standard that they believe in. And in that process of pursuing that, you learn methods that work. You learn how to do it more efficiently, because in the end, it is a skill that you actively practice. But you need to have the arrogance and the ego to believe that you can be the solution, because eventually you will be, if you are a good enough player, of course.
If you do want, though, a soft, comfortable, fun-loving life, you don't need to be as rich as Humanoid, because Into the M has got you covered. I've got actually an Into the M shirt here. That's actually an LFN one.
I didn't get mine yet.
Oh, wait a second. Maybe I don't actually. Never mind. I do have some Into the M shirts, though. By the way, the one reason I don't... Oh, there you go. That's a print one. I don't actually have mine on, because the joke is I actually now keep wearing them off air, and I'm too addicted to them. I can't go back to normal T-shirts now, mate. If I go back to that, they don't feel as soft. They're not nice and stretchy in the same way. Oh, they're so good, mate. They feel so lovely. It's actually the nicest feeling T-shirt I've ever felt. And if you don't know, they have their classic offer, so you can save money. You can get 3 graphic tees, like one like Yamato's got there. I've got a whole bunch of other designs. Monty has a few different ones. 3 graphic tees bundle is $61.95 in dollars. Basic tees, I have some really nice, just a white one that's totally white. I have you can get 2 types. I have like a soft one. I have like a more about heavy duty one that I wear out to raves and stuff. That's quite a nice one in that sense. There, 3 of them, $52.95. And what they are doing right now is they are running a sale. You know, they run sales all the time. Shop at Into the M, and their 4th of July sale is site-wide, available right now. Items up to 60% until July 7th. Check the calendar. You've still got a whole bunch of days. Up to 60%. And the 60% is just their sale on the website. If you then use our link, intotheam.com/LFN. It's on your screen. You will save not just the 60% if it is an item that's up to 60%. You will get an extra 10%. You could get up to 70% off things on their website, and plus 10% stacks with whatever percent is on their sale, or with those bundles too. So actually check out intothem.com/LFN for 10% off, plus whatever you get off in their 4th of July site-wide sale. Thank you to Into the M. Obviously, always mention us at the checkout if you can, please. And check out what countries they're available in. As far as I know, it's most places in the world. Yeah, great stuff. Right, how about this, Yamato? Should we do some viewer questions?
Let's do them.
Let's do it. We'll have
Without a break?
Yeah, we'll do a little 3-minute break, though. Come on.
All right.
Give people time to heat up the factor meal.
Of course, of course.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.